after just watching that journey, right? One of the first questions that I had was like, what was one of your biggest takeaways just during that chapter of where you were predominantly a choreographer?
Honestly, it was living with passion. I mean, to get to work with Michael Jackson, Prince, the Spice Girls. I mean, let's just start off with Michael Jackson and Prince. I was in awe, 99.9% of the time working with them. I hung out with Prince, in New York, him and Stevie Wonder. Like, he would call me and be like, come hang out, and I would be like a fly on the wall, even though he asked me to come hang out. It was still Prince. It was still Stevie Wonder at the time. And, or when I would go to Paisley Park, I would, you know, or when I would go to Prince's house, I would learn so much from him, and things that he would tell me I still use today. One of the major things that I remember, I was choreographing a video for him called Face Down. And I remember him asking to see it. It was about 2 o'clock in the morning. I was in the hotel. His assistant called and said he wants to see it. So showed it to him. He said, change it.
Mm.
I was like, change it? He's like, yeah, change it. So it took me like 2 or 3 hours to change it. It's like 5 o'clock in the morning now. The dancers were there. He came back to look at it, and I said, do you like this better? He goes, it's not better, it's just different.
Mm.
So I learned a few things. Always be ready to be even more creative. And it doesn't make something better just because it's different, right? In society, we always want to point the finger. That's better. That's better. Is it really though, or is it just different? You know,
Mm.
is power better than BMF, or is it just different? Is BMF better than family business, or is it just different? Is family business better than power, or is it just different? So it's just different. Is stomp the yard better than um,
You got served.
save the last dance or you got served? I don't know. It depends on what genre you're talking to. It was right at the right time for the right people, for the right reasons. So things aren't just things. Some things can be better, but a lot of times things are just different. So
Mm-hmm.
I learned that. I
Mm-hmm.
learned not to kind of force things, and just allow creativity to flow. And when you allow it to flow, you're really living anyway.
One of the things that I love about you is just kind of the frequency of just operating out of abundance, right? I feel like I get that vibe from you 24/7, being a positive person. And so when I'm talking to like new actors, right, or just people who are trying to book, oftentimes I tell them like the behind the scenes of that is to your point. You can kill an audition, right, and still not get that role. And it doesn't mean that you didn't do a great job. It doesn't mean that that other person was better. It literally could just be different. And I tried to open a window. It could be, well, maybe this person looks, more appealing. Not saying that person isn't attractive, but more appealing next to this character. Maybe there's a height difference that doesn't make sense when I'm going into framing. It's just all these little things, right? As to
So
how
true.
you book a role or don't book a role. And I think to piggyback off of what you said, if you focus on what you can control, right, which is your energy, your effort, then eventually you're gonna get to where you're going, and it